Chapter 114 Bathing Together Mu Qian stared at him angrily. Jiu Ye's eyes fell on her flushed face. He said, "Wait for me to take off the mask before you hit again." His mask is invulnerable. No fire or liquid can melt it. It was made of the hardest metal under the heaven and earth. If her slap really hit him, it wasn't his face that would be swollen but her hand instead. Mu Qian was stupefied. This guy is so honest that she lost the mood to reward him with a slap. Jiu Yi, close your eyes, otherwise I would really be tempted to poison you. What's with this person? He still looks cold and indifferent even when taking advantage of other people, which leave Mu Qian extremely helpless. This time, Jiu Yi really closed his eyes, took his robe and wrapped it over Mu Qian, taking her away. Mu Qian shouted, "Jiu Yi, where are you taking me? At least let me get dressed." "No need. Besides, you have to take it off later," Jiu Yi whispered. Mu Qian's hair was disheveled with the wind. What on earth does Jiu Yi want to do? She knew Jiu Yi doesn't have human feelings that normal human has. He's so cold to the point that she couldn't think she is interested in her body. Jiu Yi held Mu Qian and took her into his palace's backyard. It was a place shrouded in white mist. He gently put Mu Qian down. Mu Qian said in consternation, "This is a cold spring." Earlier, Mu Qian decided to remove the toxicity by soaking in the tub the whole night. If you soak in this cold spring, it would only take half hour and your physique would also improve as well, Mu Qian said. "Thank you. Soaking throughout the cold water all night can make oneself uncomfortable." Plop. Mu Qian jumped straight into the water. She thought the cold temperature might freeze even the blood. Mu Qian couldn't help but shudder, but it was still within the tolerable range. Besides, she successfully soaked in the spirit lake to wash the impurities on her body and survived after all. But what irked her most is not the cold temperature, but the irritation before her eyes. Jiu Yi also undressed and walked slowly into the cold pool. His long, ink-like hair slowly scattered down, and the water droplets radiates a crystal-like luster on his delicate shoulders. The water is very clear, and his body submerged under the water is captivating. Exquisite facial features, beautiful and alluring. Even if his whole aura is coated with a layer of frost that no one can enter, it still can cause confusion. What an evildoer, ah! Why did you come down? Mu Qian's voice shivered. To accompany you. Jiu Yi spit out these 3 words. With her perseverance, the coldness is nothing. Yet Jiu Yi said he stayed to accompany her? That is unnecessary. The water here is too cold. You should go back and wait for me to finish. Taking a bath with the Ashura prince is not for the faint-hearted. Mu Qian felt her heart is jumping out of her chest at this very moment. As a result, Jiu Yi only leaned himself on the side, looking so incomparably sexy, then gently closed his eyes, while disregarding Mu Qian's words completely. Mu Qian also closed her eyes, took a deep breath in order to calm herself. It was only half an hour anyway. Due to the unusual person beside her, Mu Qian even thought half an hour was longer than a night. The remaining poison in her body was finally cleared. Mu Qian felt comfortable all over, and she said cheerfully, "Jiu Yi, I'm fine now. Will you go out first or me?" A splashing sound came. Jiu Yi slowly walked out of the pool like how he was on a flat ground. With perfect curves, slender legs, well-defined abdominal muscles, and snow-like skin, he definitely looks like a son of the heaven. Jiu Yi took a dark robe from his own SPAC, wrapped his sculpture-like body, and disappeared in front of Mu Qian like the wind. Mu Qian grudgingly said, "I know you have a good figure. You don't always have to show it. Fortunately, this lord is not a man, otherwise you will be no longer chaste." Humph. Mu Qian's voice is very small, but Jiu Yi has not left at all. He heard her clearly. His icy blue eyes sank suddenly, and even a faint expression of pleasure flashed, and the corner of his mouth slightly evoked an arc. Mu Qian took out a spare dress from her water dragon ring and put it on quickly. She then wanted Jiu Yi to say goodbye. "I initially thought that I'll be busy detoxifying the whole night. Luckily, I got rid of it in the cold spring so quickly. I will now go see the situation of Ouyang Wei." For that kind of poison, Mu Qian felt that with only the Ouyang clan's ability it still wouldn't be enough. She felt uncomfortable that Ouyang Wei could come up with this kind of insidious trick. There is definitely a pair of hands behind Ouyang Wei, pushing her to dig a big hole for Mu Qian. I'll also go. Ji Yi took Mu Qian and left the Night Prince's palace. As soon as they left, Mu Qian felt something was wrong. Ji Yi, this is not the direction to go to the Ouyang's residence. That woman isn't there. What do you mean she's not home? Do you mean Ouyang Wei's family isn't optimistic on her condition that they really let her out on her own? Aren't they afraid of her running into some indecent men on the streets? After a while, Mu Qian and Jiu Yi went into a cold alley where Ouyang Wei is. Ouyang Wei is now surrounded by a group of beggars. Her breathing was ragged. A pair of hands blocked Mu Qian's eyes. Afterwards, those beggars was turned into bones until they turned to ashes and swept by the wind. It's just that there is a very bad smell lingering in the air that makes Jiu Yi frown slightly. Sob, sob. No other people was left apart from her. Ouyang Wei felt discomfort on her whole body. She then slowly crawled out of the alley. Ouyang Wei sensed a presence in front of her. Upon lifting her eyes, she saw the woman she hated. Mu Qian. While cursing Mu Qian inside, she saw another person beside her. Night Prince. Ouyang Wei was truly terrified. Although her legs are now weak, she tried to run as if seeing a ghost. Ouyang Wei directly fell to the ground and could no longer walk. At this time, Mu Qian walked slowly to Ouyang Wei. Do you want to have a deal with me? Tell me who instructed you at our fight, and I will let someone send you back to the Ouyang clan. Otherwise, if you continue staying here until morning, news would spread all over the capital regarding you tomorrow. Ouyang Wei shouted terribly. Who are you acting kind for? The reason why I ended up like this, isn't it because of you? You. Tell me what you did to me. Mu Qian said. Remember the poison you gave to me? Naturally, I'll send it back to you 10 times stronger. But, you. Why are you still okay? You aren't poisoned at all. Why am I the unlucky one? Why only me? Ouyang Wei saw Mu Qian's state. Her hope collapsed. Did I disappoint you? Looks like my poison is clearly higher than yours. Mu Qian said faintly. I don't believe it. That's impossible. He clearly said that his poison can't be detoxified except with the help of a man. Your body would keep asking for men and would no longer live without doing it for the rest of your life. Chapter 115. A sudden bang resounded. Ouyang Wei's body directly flew out by the powerful force. Ouyang Wei, who was already weak, was continually coughing out blood. Her already fleeting life would have been lost if it weren't for Mu Qian. Ji Yi truly wanted to turn Ouyang Wei into a skeleton just now. If he succeeded, Mu Qian wouldn't know about the person behind that incident anymore. Night Prince, you already did it with His Highness, right? Else, how could you easily solve the effects immediately? It turns out that you two are already in a close relationship. No wonder His Highness protects you so much, even your own clan. No wonder my Ouyang, my poor clan. Ouyang Wei's voice is cold. If she knew that Mu Qian and the Night Prince are this close already, she wouldn't dare lay a trap for Mu Qian. Not at all. Not in a million chances would they dare cause trouble if they knew. If she states her reasons now, they would never buy it. It is too late for that now. Mu Qian coldly said. Tell me, who is that person? As long as you tell me, except for the other people who made a move like you, I will leave them without a scratch. It's Ouyang Wei's voice broke. Something was shot straight at her throat. Swish. Jiu Yi caught a black dart. Ouyang Wei screamed. A black bug broke through her heart and jumped out. She widened her eyes in disbelief and muttered. You. Why did you do this? Mu Qian quickly moved away. She said coldly. This disgusting grub. Squeak. Mu Qian took out a bottle and sprayed it on the grub. Its body completely dissolved. On the other hand, the Sin, unable to escape from Jiu Ye's clutches, directly took poison and killed himself. Ouyang Wei is dead. Mu Qian's only clue was broken. Mu Qian said, There's nothing we can do here. I will go home first. I'll send you back. Ji Yi followed Mu Qian and left. The next day, in the capital of Purple Moon Kingdom, Ouyang Wei's corpse was found in a corner. All kinds of rumors came out, making the Ouyang people unable to raise their heads while walking outside. Ouyang Ju, filled with rage, shouted, "Despicable! Even if she died in a ma's grave is better. How can she let herself be killed on the streets? How dare she discredit the family's name?" Ouyangji hurriedly said, "Father, it's not my sister's fault. It must be Mu Qian, she who has done it. There's so many of us guarding sister before. How could she escape here if it wasn't for that DM in Mu Qian she?" Ouyangju shouted, "Imbecile! Mu Qian is now the fiancée of His Royal Highness the Night Prince. Who dares make a move on her would result in death. Is there any news on the Great Fire Sect?" A trace of sadness flashed in Ouyangji's eyes. The Great Fire Sect doesn't want to fight against Xinyuan Jiuyi. They're terrible. The next day, the genius ranking continued, and the 5 contestants left were already present. Each person will play against the other 4 in turn. Each win will count as a point. The person with the highest point will be ranked first, consequently until remaining rank is set. The first match is between Mu Qian Shi and Yu Zhe. Obviously, when the match of the two was announced, one would know the result right away, and so no bets were made. The absolute winner will be Mu Qian Shi. Sure enough, as soon as Yu Zhe stepped inside the arena, he admitted defeat. "You don't want to compete with your leader?" Mu Qian asked. Yu Zhe laughed. "I don't want to fight, and I also don't want to be beaten badly by leader. Admitting defeat is my best choice." Since the other already said it, Mu Qian scored a point without moving a single step. Her next match is with Xinyuan Qingyun. When the man's name was declared by the arbiter, Mu Qian takes a good look at the person in front of her. This was the first time she saw Xinyuan Qingyun clearly. He was tall and handsome. His perfect moon-white silk brocade wrapped his lean body. His True's black hair was tied by a white jade hairpin, and his thick eyebrows looked like a crescent moon. Those eyes looked clear yet held no authority like other royalty does. A fine and elegant young man with indifferent eyes, just like a solitary orchid on a deadly desert. "I admit defeat." This is his first sentence to Mu Qian. Mu Qian was taken aback for a moment. Yu Zhe is considered as her little brother, and it was justifiable for him to admit defeat. But His Highness also admits his defeat without a fight. This is too unreasonable. Mu Qian asked, "Do you mean it with your words just now?" "Yes. You are one. Xiaoji's fiancé, thus I will not fight you," he said lightly. His figure suddenly disappeared in the arena. Mu Qian froze. She felt that someone was misunderstanding about her being Jiu Ye's light. Mu Qian's first 2 matches ended smoothly. Her last match was against Mu Ruyan. Mu Ruyan slowly entered the arena. She smiled softly. "Sheer, I haven't seen you for a long time. Are you okay?" "Mu Ruyan, don't spout nonsense things. Let's hurry up and fight." Mu Qian made her move first. Someone wanted to use this genius ranking game to find an opportunity to kill her. Apart from Yu Zhe and Xinyuan Qingyun, the only persons left were Mu Ruyan and the one who invited her to this event, Yun Xinran. Only after this fight would she have the time to properly investigate. "If this is what Sheer wants, I must give my best too," Mu Ruyan said softly. Among the crowd, someone said, "What do you think? Is there a chance Mu Ruyan would win?" "I heard that Miss Mu Ruyan followed a mysterious master, and she hadn't been here in the capital for nearly a year. Maybe she has made a lot of progress. Let's just wait and see." Mu Ruyan turned into a white smoke, rushed towards Mu Qian. White mist surrounds the arena. Everyone was stunned. A spiritual element. Miss Ruyan also has an element. Xinyuan Lishang looked at Mu Ruyan's shadow with pride. Ruyan's talent is the real deal. She who was rumored to be relying on elixirs has achieved this result on her own, not due to the things that Mu Qian spread just to discredit her. Mu Qian flew sideways to avoid Mu Ruyan's attack. An offensive water spell was already gathered at her hands. Mu Qian mercilessly attacked Mu Ruyan. Water Dragon Slash. At this time, countless white satin appeared, blocking Mu Qian's water dragon. Boom. A tremor sounded and 2 different forces confronted each other. 2 figures both backed away a few steps. What kind of weapon does Mu Ruyan have? It can actually block the water element attack of Lord Mu. It must be more than a 3rd-grade spirit weapon. There are not many weapons of that grade here in the whole Purple Moon Kingdom. Miss Ruyan actually got one. What blessing! This time the match is worth seeing. Although Lord Mu has water element Miss Rian, who has the same level as her as well as having a 5th grade spirit weapon, shouldn't be weak. Everyone was excited. They all focused on the fight below. Huh. Mu Ruyan's figure moved and the graceful figure danced like a fairy princess, leaving the crowd in astonishment. What a lovely view. Mu Ruyan's figure became more and more blurred in the white satin and multiple murderous attacks came from all directions. Mu Qian stood at the center of the vortex. Her figure stood still, closed her eyes, muttering to herself. Is this an illusion? Chapter 116. It's never clear what Mu Ruoyan learned from her mysterious master. Now she's finally exposed. Mu Qian's fingers moved, and countless medicinal needles flew out in all directions. Her illusions couldn't confuse her, and she just happened to use the medicine needle to break the surface. Rip and pull. The needles cut through Mu Ruoyan's white satin. Her spirit weapon was a 5th-grade spirit weapon, but the medicinal needles created by the senior alchemist, Hualao, were sharp enough to break through the 5th-grade spirit weapon. There was no way for Mu Ruoyan to avoid the onslaught of needles from all directions. A painful scream was heard, and the white satin fell down, and the crowd saw Mu Ruoyan fall on the stage. When people saw Mu Ruoyan's miserable appearance, they all had a numbing feeling that Mu Jia's lord was really a ruthless character. At this time, Mu Ruoyan's body, hands and feet were pinned to the tournament stage by 4 medicinal needles of varying lengths that penetrated through the bones. The positions of the hands and feet were very symmetrical, not deviating one iota, and the alignment was really beyond reproach. Mu Ruoyan did not shed a single drop of blood, but her face was blue with pain, and her pitiful appearance made all the men present look heartbroken. Xinyuan Lishang roared, "Mu Qianxi, you are so vicious. Sister! Sister!" Mu Ruyan ran out crying and was worried about Mu Ruoyan. These two people portrayed their affection for Mu Ruoyan to the extreme, leaving the crowd deeply moved. Mu Qian pointed at Mu Ruyan and asked, "Do you want to go home and cry? As for you, Crown Prince, if you are still not convinced, you can go challenge this lord. Don't make a scene like ASKANK looking for trouble." Mu Qian glanced at Xinyuan Lishang and scorned him. Mu Ruyan's face froze, and Xinyuan Lishang's face turned green. "Mu Qianxi, don't be too arrogant." Mu Qian languidly said, "Your Highness, your debts are still unpaid and the deadline is approaching. I don't think you want me to take anyone to the East Palace to collect them, right?" Xinyuan Lishang was speechless. For that debt he even sold a lot of things, but he still hasn't paid off everything. Now Mu Qianxi has even brought it up again, making him furious. "I don't need to remind you that Ruoyan is in urgent need of healing, so I won't talk nonsense with you first." Xinyuan Lishang hugged his sweetheart and left in a hurry. Mu Qian has won 3 games in a row, and there is only 1 game left. Mu Qian's last match was against Yun's young master, Yun Xinran. Yun Xinran, dressed in Hanfu clothing for scholars, slowly walked up to the tournament stage, and it was hard for the crowd to imagine that this seemingly scholarly and weak young man had made it to the top 5 in the young generation of the Purple Moon Kingdom. Compared to the royal princes and the 2 brothers of the Yu family, Yun Xinran's appearance can only be considered average. However, his elegant temperament, astonishing intellect, and high cultivation talent are very attractive to the women of the Purple Moon Kingdom, and has already become a role model for the young talents of the Purple Moon Kingdom. Mu Qian slowly greeted him. "Yun Xinran." Yun Xinran elegantly said, "It's an honor for me to fight with Lord Mu, and I hope Lord Mu will be more lenient later." A dark light flashed in Mu Qian's eyes. "If young Master Yun is unlike my previous foe, this lord will naturally show mercy, but if he is, what happens to Mu Ruoyan will also happen to you." Yun Xinran smiled faintly and said, "How could I be the enemy of Lord Mu? Lord Mu really knows how to make a joke." "Fine, let's stop talking and start the fight," Mu Qian said. Yun Xinran may not necessarily be the person behind Mu Ruoyan, since she couldn't detect any murderous intent coming from him. "Good." Yun Xinran smiled readily and calmly. Suddenly, Yun Xinran's body was wrapped in a white light, emitting an aura that definitely did not resemble Mu Ruoyan's. The people's eyes showed astonishment. Although he was originally ranked 4th, They did not expect him to reach the peak of the first stage spiritual master already at his age. What a surprise! Young Master Yun is only 18 years old. Yun Shinran enthused. If I want to win against Lord Mu, I have to do my best. Then, Yun Shinran's strength even increased once again, to the second stage spiritual master. Yun Shinran's power skyrocketed to the limit, and with a leap and a swing of his palm, he attacked Mu Qian. I didn't expect young Master Yun, who looked so weak, can make a wave aura so neatly and smoothly. The people exclaimed. Yu Zhe's face paled. If Yun Shinran hadn't run into his leader today, they wouldn't have known that Yun Shinran was so powerful. Mu Qian didn't dodge, she even said. You can't even defeat me with such little power. Water Dragon Slash. The water dragon tore through the void and struck Yun Shinran. Yun Shinran's figure swept past, dodging the blow, and smiled helplessly. It seems that I really underestimated Lord Mu. He stood floating, and suddenly his palms transformed into somewhat thousands of hands, and a deep voice echoed. 10,000 Buddha hands. The hand of the 10,000 Buddhas thundered down, and even a third-stage spiritual master had to dodge it, not to mention Mu Qian, who is just a first-stage spiritual master. The power of the 10,000 Buddhas is so imposing, but Mu Qian found a flaw. Her eyes flashed with a light. Break it for me. The water drops turned into thousands, and Mu Qian's next move followed. Scatter. Icicle rain. The icy aura of water enveloped Yun Shinran, and Yun Shinran hurriedly dodged. Water Dragon Slash. But Mu Qianxi didn't want to give him a chance to breathe, and the attack came again. That water dragon attack is amazing. Boom, boom. On the tournament stage, Mu Qian's attacks came one after another. The corners of people's mouths were twitching. Lord Mu's spiritual power is completely inexhaustible. It's too fearsome. I'm afraid the young master will be consumed alive. Under Mu Qian's chaotic attack, Yun Shinran was overwhelmed. He was about to concede defeat when suddenly a purple figure approached like the wind. If he tried to make any move, the cold and poisonous needles in her hand would be sunk into his lethal point. Yun Shinran's pupils suddenly shrunk. Mu Qian actually wanted to kill him. Boom. Under the threat of death, Yun Shinran's instinct to protect his own life allowed him to explode with his true strength. The violent spiritual energy bounced Mu Qian away, and Mu Qian's figure took a few dozen steps back in the air. The face of Yu Zhe, who was watching the game, turned heavy at once. Third stage spirit master. How deep does Yun Shinran want to hide this? Everyone in the area was stunned. The young master of the Yun clan is really powerful. A third stage spiritual master under the age of 18 is considered one of the best in the entire snow continent in terms of cultivation. Why did he have to hide it so much? Chapter 117. Mu Qian said, So this is your real strength? Yun Shinran nodded. If Lord Mu hadn't pushed me so hard, Lord Mu could have easily won the compet. I tie in and gotten the top spot in the Purple Moon Country's talent rankings. Mu Qian waved her hand. That's true. However, this lord prefers to beat you at your true strength in order to have a worthy win. Perhaps I will disappoint you, Lord Mu. Yun Shinran's figure approached Mu Qian, she with great speed, and slapped his palm with majestic spiritual power toward her. An opponent 2 steps above her struck with all his might, and this time Mu Qian chose to dodge, his spiritual energy shattering the tip of Mu Qian's dress. The situation was then reversed, and Yun Shinran, who had been caught and beaten by Mu Qian, was now able to catch up with Mu Qianxi. Lord Mu, you are the only one who has pushed me, Yun Shinran, to this point in the past 18 years. The corner of Mu Qian's mouth curved slightly. You want to win against me? It's not that easy. Mu Qian fiercely lifted her hand and countless needles flew out. This is how Mu Ruoyan was defeated. After the last battle, it became clear to them that Mu Qianxi's most lethal weapon was not her water elemental attack, but rather this bizarre small needle weapon, which was unstoppable. Even though the small needle attack was bizarre, the crowd saw the difference in their strengths. This small needle is powerful, but young Master Yun is much better than Mu Ruoyan. It's not that easy for Mu Qianxi to win, someone said. Faced with the sudden appearance of the needles, Yun Shinran's face was very calm and the wind from his palm whistled, slapping away Mu Qian's needles. However, when he slapped the needles away, smaller needles flew toward him like rain, and Yun Shinran's face changed dramatically and he hurriedly dodged. This set of needles that Mu Qian had the Fire Elder create is multifunctional. It can save lives, it can poison others, it can attack, and it can be used as a hidden weapon for sneak attacks. Boom, boom. Yun Shinran hurriedly dodged and finally hit all the fine needles away. The crowd was stunned, saying, "Looks like young Master Yun has successfully dodged this attack." "Yeah, I guess." No, take a look." At this time, a man spoke out. People saw a trace of blood slipping down from Yun Shinran's fingertips and saw that young Master Yun was injured. "It's just a small puncture wound, so it shouldn't be a problem." But as soon as the man's words fell, Yun Shinran's face suddenly turned pale. Puff! With one sound, a mouthful of blood was spat out and his lips began to turn purple. The ghost doctor's medicinal needles, after making even a small cut, can be fatal. The crowd was shocked. What? Lord Mu won. Even when young Master Yun's strength had increased to the 3rd level of spiritual master. Mu Qian said, "It seems that I have not yet won, as the young master has not conceded defeat." Mu Qian looked at Yun Shinran with a smile on her face, not missing his expression. Just at this time, the master of the Jingwu Tang stepped forward and said, "As the referee of this match, I declare young Master Yun the loser. Take young Master Yun out for treatment." Although the master of the Jingwu Tang remained calm on the surface, Mu Qian could see the panic in his eyes. Mu Qian's expression darkened a bit. It seems that Jingwu Tang has a deep relationship with Yun Shinran. Otherwise, they would not have risked defending her by rescuing Yun Shinran in a timely manner. Mu Qian coldly snorted and walked off the stage. If he escapes this time, there is always a chance for Yun Shinran to show his true colors again. Mu Ruoyan lost her fighting power, and so did Yun Shinran. The next match between Yu Zhe and Xinyuan Qingyun is much simpler without these two opponents. In the final battle, Yu Zhe faced Xinyuan Qingyun to take 2nd place. Surprisingly, Xinyuan Qingyun is also very strong. Mu Qian Shi and Yun Shinran aren't the only formidable geniuses in their Purple Moon Kingdom. It was inconceivable that he had the strength of a 3rd stage spiritual master. Faced with an opponent who was far superior to him, Yu Zhe decided to give it his best shot. He was already too far behind his leader, and if he didn't fight well, he would be pulled further and further away from her, which was definitely something he was afraid of. Boom! The two figures crossed paths with each other. During the battle, Yu Zhe frantically squeezed his own potential, and once again broke through to the 9th stage spiritual warrior. He is still under the age of 17, and with such strength, he can also be considered a top talent in the Purple Moon Kingdom. Bang! But the gap of 4 levels was inevitable, and in the end, Yu Zhe was defeated by Xinyuan Qingyun. It is obvious, however, that Xinyuan Qingyun is very considerate towards the situation, and Yu Zhe was only slightly injured. Soon, a new list of talents was released. Mu Qian Shi received 4 points and is in 1st place. Xinyuan Qingyun received 3 points and is in 2nd place. Yu Zhe received 2 points and was in 3rd place. As for the 4th and 5th places, after Mu Ruoyan found out Yun Shinran's true grade, she naturally did not dare to occupy the 4th place and had to give it to Yun Shinran. So young Master Yun still kept his old ranking. The Mujiao residence. Mu Qian took the information about Yun Shinran, frowned slightly and said, "The investigation of Yun Shinran that I asked for only got this little information?" "Yes, Lord. I am incapable." Mu'er is very ashamed. Mu Qian waved her hand. "It's not your fault. Yun Shinran has been hiding the truth for so long, so it won't be easy to catch him. No one moves until the enemy does." "Yes, Lord." The top 10 talent ranking compet. Itayan came to an end, and Mu Qian Shi took the top spot. No one in the entire Purple Moon Kingdom would say that Mu Qian Shi was a useless family head anymore, and the elders of the Mujia also felt much more at ease. On the other hand, one of Yun Shinran's elder brothers from the One Pill sect, a low-level alchemist, came to the Purple Moon Kingdom to cure Yun Shinran of his poison, and also to cure Mu Ruoyan. This low-level alchemist not only cured Mu Ruoyan, but also seemed to fall in love with the woman who looked like a fairy at first sight, and almost had a major fight with the crown prince over the beauty. Surprisingly, Mu Ruoyan also has a high talent for alchemy. Apparently, this disciple is going to recommend the beauty to his own master as a disciple and become his junior sister to obtain an opportunity of getting closer to her. Xinyuan Lishang is already dying of depression, but he has compensated many treasures of the Mu family for the beauty, and if the beauty is head away by other men before he can get his hands on her, it would be a big loss, wouldn't it? In order to please the beauty, this alchemist has organized an alchemy exchange meeting at Purple Moon Lake. Anyone who is interested in alchemy can come to this event. He even invited the palace's chief alchemist, a man of mystery, to this event. He also boasted that he would someday be able to usurp the Medicine King. The news has spread very widely in the Purple Moon capital, and when Junimo she heard this news, he was so angry that he wanted to kill that arrogant and useless person at once. He approached Mu Qian and said, "Little girl, what is that exchange meeting? Do you want to come with me tomorrow to break it up? That punk. How dare he claim that he is better than me?" Iwan, formerly Danjizhong, is now Pill Sect for easier reading. Chapter 118. Mu Qian is still very righteous and without further ado said, "Okay, let's go and break it up. I'd like to see what that so-called genius alchemist of the Pill Sect is all about." The fact that the Pill Sect and Yun Shinran are good friends made it possible for them to test the alchemist and perhaps catch Yun Shinran's one foxtail. In fact, she was going to go there regardless of whether or not Junimo she came. The next day, the Purple Moon Lake was bustling with activity. A gorgeous ship was docked in the middle of the water, and countless Oblemen and ladies in gorgeous clothes were riding on exquisite bamboo rafts to the ship. They had no interest in alchemy, but they would never let go of the opportunity to get to know the disciple of a Pill Sect. At this time, an elegant purple figure and a man in white clothing approached the ship on a bamboo raft and slowly walked on it. Seeing them, the face of the white-clothed maid who was in charge of serving the guests instantly went cold. "Mu Qian Shi, Our Lady didn't invite you, so hurry up and get out." As Mu Ruoyan's personal maid, too, Xiao Tao despised the Mu Jia's lord from the bottom of her heart when she met her 3 years ago. She believes that Mu Qian she mistreated their miss, and now that the miss is being fought over by 2 excellent men, her self-confidence has grown. So what if Mu Qian was the #1 genius in the Purple Moon Kingdom? Is she better than the alchemist who adores the miss? For such a little girl who doesn't know how to behave, Mu Qian won't be polite to her either. Mu Qian kicked her right off. Good dogs shouldn't block the way. Does this lord need your permission to board her own ship? What more do I need from a little girl who doesn't know how to live? Tao. At this time, a panicked voice came over, and many people came out and noticed Mu Qian and Junimo she beside her. What a pair of incomparably handsome man and beautiful woman pair. People can't take their eyes off them. Hurry up and save Tao. Hurry up. Mu Ruoyan's face was white with anxiety as she grabbed Jing Lianghui's sleeve. Naturally, Jing Lianghui would not let her worry, and hurriedly let her hand go down to rescue the person, but the maid was already unconscious when she was rescued. Mu Ruoyan's fingertips were somewhat white and trembled as she walked up to Mu Qian, speaking pitifully, "Sheer, I know you've been angry with me, but it has nothing to do with Xiao Tao, so if you want to take it out on me, take it out on me. Why hurt an innocent person?" She was like a white lotus that had been destroyed by the waves, and it was heartbreaking for Jing Lianghui to see her like that. Jing Lianghui said, "Mu Qian Shi, you are the head of a big clan. Bullying a weak woman, do you feel a sense of accomplishment about it?" A pink-clothed Mu Ruyun also rushed over and pulled Mu Ruoyan's sister. "You should stay away from that tick woman in the future, or you will be badly hurt by her again." At this time, Xinyuan Li Shang and Xinyuan Li Tian also came out. Xinyuan Li Tian saw the man standing beside Mu Qian. His expression darkened. In this woman. She who hooked up with Yu Zhe has another wild man with her today. This fickle and shameful woman. Junimo she doesn't know that at this time he was labeled as a wild man. Mu Qian she slightly raised her eyebrow. The corners of her exquisite mouth curved up in a wicked way, saying, "Then let me ask you, Do you feel more accomplished by pleasing someone else's 3. Used broken shoes? Sheer. At this time Mu Ruoyan bit her lips in distress, revealing an expression of being heartbroken to death. Xinyuan Lishang was angry. Mu Qianxi, you must not slander Ruoyan. There is no such thing as a sordid relationship between Ruoyan and me like you think. Mu Qian smiled and said, It seems that the crown prince really can't do it anymore. I was sure the rumors were false. The crowd was stunned when Mu Qian revealed a big secret. They were shocked. The crown prince, he really can't do it anymore? Xinyuan Lishang's face became fierce. Mu Qianxi, you are looking for death. If he hadn't been unable to beat Mu Qianxi, he really would have wanted to slap her to death with one hand. What's with the noise? At this time, an old voice came over. A gray-robed old man appeared in front of everyone, and even Xinyuan Lishang restrained his anger and respectfully greeted him with a shout. Master Peng, you've come? This was the chief alchemist of the palace, Master Peng. As soon as Master Peng came, all the young men and women of the Purple Moon Kingdom looked at him in adoration. This master is usually not easy to meet, even if you want to see him. The pill sect has a large number of alchemists who can only concoct second-grade pills. If it weren't for his great reputation in the Purple Moon Kingdom and Ruoyan's admiration for him, he wouldn't even bother to treat the old man with care. Mu Ruoyan finally regained her emotions and walked forward. Mu Ruoyan has met Master Peng. The exchange meeting is ready. Master Peng, please come in. Master Peng didn't care about this delicate young lady at all, and if he hadn't heard that the genius disciple of the pill sect was coming, he wouldn't have bothered to associate with these youngsters today. The storm just now, because of Master Peng's arrival, was automatically forgotten, and the people did not want to make a big deal out of it. One by one, they all wanted to enter the ship's cabin, but at this time, Jing Lianghui said, Lord Mu, although your cultivation talent is decent and your clan is big and powerful, you don't know anything about alchemy, so I don't welcome you at this exchange meeting. Little girl doesn't know anything about alchemy? What a joke. At this time Junimo chuckled as if he had heard a great joke. If the little girl doesn't know anything, I'm afraid that this useless person must be a nobody. This cold and charming man is like a fine work of art. His smile can be considered as being able to overturn a country, making all the women look dumbstruck. Jing Lianghui replied, What you mean is that the Mujia Lord, apart from being rich, also knows how to do alchemy? Mu Qian said, So what if I do? What if I don't? Mu Qian pointed at the ship in front of her and said, This ship belongs to my Mujia. If you don't dare to let this lord in, I'll have this ship blown up later. Let's see if you can still hold some kind of alchemy exchange meeting then. The crowd was astonished. Mu Qian, she was worthy of being the head of the Mujia. It was too overbearing. Even the palace's chief alchemist was busy, hugging the young man's big thighs, but Lord Mu openly provoked him. Although Mu Ruoyan was removed from the Mujia, she obviously had no self-awareness at all. As soon as Jing Lianghui said he was going to hold the pill exchange meeting, she kindly asked her grandfather, the Mujia's great elder, to transfer one of the Mujia's best ships over. Jing Lianghui raged, Mu Qianxi, you're too much, too unreasonable. 1. Chinese idiom, visible sign of evil intentions, to reveal one's evil nature. 2. Her name's literal translation is Little Peach. 3. Literally means loose woman. 4. The meaning of this phrase is to signify someone trying to curry favor with someone else. Chapter 119. Mu Qian smiled faintly and said, Thank you for the compliment. Jing Lianghui was so enraged that he was hurt internally, and it was the first time he encountered such a difficult person. At this time, Mu Ruoyan suddenly spoke up, Jingwan, Gongzi, it's Ruoyan's fault. Ruoyan thought Sheer wasn't interested in such things and didn't send her an invitation. Harmony is to be prized. You should not be angry. She looked at Mu Qian with great sincerity and said, Sheer, we all welcome you here. Jing Lianghui, who is, riding a tiger, is now having a hard time to get off. Now that the beauty was asking for it, he gave way and said, You have to partake. IP8 to attend. When you see Gongzi's talent later, you will definitely regret going against him. The thought that later on, Mu Qian, she will worship him like everyone else. fawning over him and flattering him in all sorts of ways, made Jing Lianghui feel much better. All the people who came to attend this exchange meeting entered the venue, and the entire venue was very exquisitely decorated and pleasing to the eye, showing that Mu Ruoyan had put in a lot of effort. Once everyone was there, it was time for Jing Lianghui to show off and perform, waving his hands and displaying numerous herbs. He said, "These herbs are the ones used to refine the first-grade elixir pill, which is, as soon as the properties of these herbs were introduced, many people were laymen and naturally looked at Jing Lianghui with admiration." Junimo said, "Little girl, I feel like I'm watching a monkey show. So boring. Might as well go back and eat meat." "I feel the same way. Let's watch it first. And then you find a chance to break the scene, else it's all for nothing." With a nod he said, "But this guy is such an idiot. I don't even feel like trashing the venue anymore. I thought he was so powerful." While Mu Qian and Junimo were watching the monkey show, something big happened to Mu Jia. Third Master, Third Master. For a time, the Wu Yu courtyard was in complete chaos. At this moment, Mu Wushuang's face was so pale. Large drops of sweat fell from his forehead, and he felt like his legs were being crawled by millions of ice-cold insects. The guards around him said, "I'll go and invite the young lord." "Stop!" Mu Wushuang coldly shouted. "Father's seal is no longer effective and the poison on my leg flared up, so it's useless even if Sheer is here or not. Don't tell Sheer, so she won't worry." Mu Wushuang said weakly. "But that's an order." As soon as the shadow was about to say something, several figures suddenly appeared in front of them. The shadow was stunned. "Who?" Boom. In a flash they exchanged blows, but today Mu Wushuang couldn't even move a finger because of the pain, so it was very difficult for him to deal with these martial and spirit kings by himself. The poison flared up wildly, and eventually Mu Wushuang couldn't stand it any longer and pious set out. Third Master, Mu Qian, who had been watching Jing Lianghui's antics, suddenly had a very bad premonition and stood up with a cold killing intent emanating from her body. She had no idea what else could be going on that would make her so unsettled. Mu Qian could never have imagined that her young uncle Mu Wushuang, who had recovered his eyesight and had reached the third stage of Martial King, would encounter danger in this remote land known as the Purple Moon Kingdom. At the same time, Jing Lianghui was refining a first-grade pill when he suddenly felt a cold, murderous aura that caused his mental energy to stagnate, leaving him out of control for a moment. Boom! The furnace in front of his eyes exploded with a bang. Cough, cough. Jing Lianhui crawled up with great difficulty, as if he had come out of a coal mine, and his smoothly combed ink hair had turned into a mess. Seeing such a funny scene, the crowd really wanted to laugh but did not dare to. It was so hard to hold it in that it caused internal injuries to some. Jing Lianghui raged. "Mu Qian Shi, you actually attacked me while I was refining my medicine. You have caused Gongzi to fail in refining medicine." Junimo said, "If your strength is poor, how can you blame others for failing to refine the pills? Who are you? What right do you have to talk to Gongzi like that?" Junimo slowly walked over and said, "Who am I? If I remember correctly, you all call me Medicine King." "Ha ha ha. You? Medicine King?" Jing Lianghui was laughing so hard he couldn't catch his breath. "You liar. I've heard that the Medicine King is an advanced alchemist, even more powerful than our patriarch. How can you, a dimwit, be an advanced alchemist? Boring. Since we are here today to trash this place, there has to be something I can do." Junimo raised his hand, and an alchemy furnace appeared in front of him. He lazily used his fire attribute spiritual energy, and for a moment the whole ship's cabin became scorching hot. Master Pong, who had been very arrogant on the side, suddenly jumped up. Fire attribute? Junmo's movements were very smooth as he put in every single spiritual herb, and not long after, a 5-grade pill was refined casually by Junimo. A 5-grade pill? He really is the Medicine King. How is that possible? Jing Lianghui was incredulous. At this time, Master Peng jumped out and said, "Medicine King, you are definitely the Medicine King, and no one in the entire Purple Moon Kingdom can do that except you. Please take me as your disciple, Master." The crowd saw an unbelievable scene. The royal chief alchemist, who had always been on top of the world, actually wanted to learn from a young man who looked like he had not yet reached the age of 20. What a bizarre scene this was. Chapter 120. Junimo reached out, pointing at Mu Qianxi. She is now in charge of his food and home. Of course he is her person. Junimo thinks this way, but the others thought the wrong way. This sentence is too misleading, okay? Mu Ruyun's proud face instantly froze in disbelief. How could this happen? The Medicine King unexpectedly wanted to listen to Mu Qianxi's words. Mu Qian looked at her with a smile and said, Mu Ruyun, your words just now appear to be the opposite. Even if Mu Ruoyan is able to refine a third-grade elixir, this lord doesn't think highly of her. She is not even worthy to raise this lord's shoes. Junimo, if you take such a woman as your disciple, then I will absolutely cut off ties with you. Junimo shrugged his shoulders and said, Then there is nothing I can do. Woo woo woo. Mu Ruoyan cried in a low voice. Jing Lianghui immediately grabbed her shoulders and said comfortingly, Ruoyan, don't cry. You are so talented. Even the patriarch will accept you as a disciple. Being the disciple of the Medicine King are not rare in the least. Boom. At this time, Junimo suddenly made a move. With one kick, Jing Lianghui was sent into the lake. 1. Bingongzi hates self-righteous SCU, like you the most. To say that you will be more powerful than this Bingongzi in the future is simply an insult to this Bingongzi. Cock! Jing Lianghui, after he fell directly into the water, coughed and took a cold shower. Medicine King, you're just too much. Who let you say things you shouldn't? You deserve it. For a moment, the cold and immortal-like image of the man disappeared, and the onlookers' mouths twitched. Medicine King, did Lord Mu's temperament pass onto you? Why are you so violent? At this time, Master Peng's old face unfolded a bright smile and came up to Mu Qian, asking, Lord Mu, take a look at me. Do I fit in as a proper disciple of the Medicine King? The corners of Mu Qian's mouth twitched. Master Peng, you're so old to be this guy's disciple. Don't you care about seniority? Master Peng replied, In our world of alchemy, regardless of age, it is only about one's ability. Therefore, this old man does not feel ashamed. As long as the great Medicine King can give a few pointers to me, I will die without regret. Mu Qian said, The truth is, even if you want the Medicine King to guide you, you can't. You must give up becoming the royal family's chief alchemist first, and then come to work in my ghost medicine house. Will I agree with you? Her ghost doctor house has too few alchemists, while business is getting better and better. It would be good to recruit more people. This old guy is a little older and has less talent in alchemy, but his experience is not bad. Otherwise, he would not have become the chief alchemist of the Purple Moon Kingdom, right? Xinyuan Lishang was furious. Mu Qianxi, to think that you have the audacity to steal from our royal family. You're crazy. Xinyuan Li Tian also said gloomily, Mu Qianshi, you are Imperial Brother's fiancé, but you are actually hooking up with someone outside and having such a close relationship with the Medicine King, tarnishing the reputation of our royal family. Aren't you afraid of making Ninth Brother displeased with you? Mu Qian's voice was cold. Jui does not care. Also, Your Highness Xinyuan Li Tian, you should stop meddling in this lord's affairs. Xinyuan Li Tian's face turned green for a moment, then purple in a matter of seconds, a lot more colorful than a palette could be. He coldly snorted, Mu Qianxi, if you continue to act like this, sooner or later you'll die without knowing. Meanwhile, Master Peng made up his mind and said, I promise, I will return to the palace later to give His Majesty my resignation. Xinyuan Lishang's face turned pale and said, Master Peng, the Ghost Doctor House is just a small medicine house run by Mu Jia. The pills and potions sold are all inferior. Why do you have to condescend to a place like that? Master Peng waved his hand and said, There is a Medicine King sitting in there. It is definitely not as simple as you think. Your Highness, this old man already made his decision. Xinyuan Lishang wanted to kill the chief alchemist of their Xinyuan royal family, so that he can't be used by others. When their father comes back, His Majesty will surely not let him go. Mu Qian said, Then Master Peng should quickly report to the Ghost Doctor House. This lord will leave first. You guys take your time and play. Mu Qian dragged Junimo away. Since the event was already in a mess and half of the ship was destroyed, she hurriedly went home. Especially since the restlessness she's feeling hasn't gone down at all. Junimo said, I'm going back to the ghost doctor house and won't go back to the Mujia with you. Come back to Mujia's residence with me first. I need you to take a look at my little uncle's leg. Mu Qian pulled him away nonchalantly. She already had a way to solve the poison in little uncle's eyes. But those legs have been poisoned for over 20 years, and there is nothing she can do about it. She was hoping that this native medicine king would be able to figure out something, even if just a little. When she got back, she found that nothing happened. But as soon as she reached the Wu Yu courtyard, seeing the broken tables and wheelchair with blood, Mu Qian's face turned dark. She coldly shouted, Mui! Swish! All the shadows of the Mu Jia appeared and froze instantly when they saw the scene in front of them. Third Master, he? With a thud, he kneeled. Please forgive me, Lord. We subordinates failed you. Someone entered here and grabbed little uncle without anyone noticing. The other party must be a martial king or spirit king expert. But who exactly is it? Mu Qian's brows are knitted. No matter who it is, mobilize all the intelligence of the Mu Jia and report back to me. Her purple dress blowing up with the wind and with a cold and dark expression, her aura turned into bloodle. UST. This was the first time Junimo, Mui, and the others had seen her like this. She, who talks, laughs, and is casual and unrestrained every day, let out such a terrifying expression. Yes, Lord, Junimo said softly, little girl, since the other side did not kill directly, there's still a chance. Don't rush first. Mu Qian's figure disappeared in a flash. Before going inside the medicine room, she shouted, Notify me if there is news. I'll go and do some preparation. Those who dares to touch my little uncle, I will make them pay a heavy price. Junimo originally wanted to help Mu Qian refine some elixirs, but seeing that she took out a number of highly poisonous things, he thought it was better for him not to go inside the room. When night fell, the eldest young master of the Ouyang family, Ouyang Ji, entered the Mu Jia's residence proudly. Let Mu Qian she come to see me? Lord. Outside the medicine room came Mu Yi's voice. With a wave of her hand, Mu Qian she gathered up the poison she had refined anew, and with an icy gaze, she spat out 2 words. Ouyang clan. This time Mu Qian did not neglect Ouyang Ji, and the next moment he learned that Ouyang Ji had come, Mu Qian had already appeared in front of him. When he was about to raise a brow, a sense of foreboding crept up on his skin. A pair of slender fingers suddenly strangled his neck and a cold voice came into his ears. My little uncle. Where is he? Cough, cock, cock. Mu Qian's hand was so fierce that Ouyang Ji's face turned blue from the pinch and he kept coughing. He said with difficulty, If you don't want Mu Wushuang to die, let go. It wouldn't have been is used by a speaker to refer to themselves in the third person, Iliism. This form of speaking is used for more formal occasions, usually when the speaker is part of a conversation among equals or as the highest-ranking person in the room. Chapter 121. Mu Qian's arm moved and viciously dropped Ouyang Ji's body down. Leader. At this time, a slender voice swept by, and Yuzhe looked at Mu Qian with worry. He knew that Third Master Mu Wushuang was her only family member. How much Third Master Mu Wushuang dotes on her, and how important he is for her. Ouyang Ji grimaced in pain and said angrily, Mu Qian, how dare you make a move against me? Aren't you afraid that Mu Wushuang will die without a burial place? Swish. Numerous needles were suspended in front of Ouyang Ji. Speak up. Don't give me so much nonsense. No matter what, this lord will kill you today, and go talk to the Ouyang clan myself. Ouyang Ji's body trembled. He felt that at this time the person in his eyes was not Mu Qian, but His Highness the Night Prince instead. Like a death G.O.D., there is no trace of human emotion in her eyes. Ouyang Ji didn't dare to talk any more nonsense and spoke. Mu Wushuang was taken away by my master and his men. As long as your Mu clan handed over all their properties, including money, estates, elixirs, and artifacts, my master and his men would naturally release Mu Wushuang. Mu Qian asked, the third elder of the fire sect and the others, how exactly did they capture my uncle? Even if a few spirit kings are mobilized, It is impossible to make a move on her little uncle. Mu Qian wanted to know what exactly happened to him. How can Mu Wushuang be my master's opponent? You also think too highly of him. Mu Qian directly slapped Ouyangji away. Those scum from the fire sect, how could they be a match for my little uncle? Ouyangji covered his face. Mu Qian, do you promise or not? If you don't deliver the stuff personally to the fire sect before midnight today, just wait until you collect the corpse of that crippled little uncle of yours. Crack! Without needing Mu Qian's hand, Yu Zhe had already moved forward to break both of Ouyangji's arms. Ouyangji screamed miserably in pain. They wanted to take my clan's properties and think that this lord would easily agree? Born as a major clan of the Purple Moon Kingdom, yet they covet the wealth of secular families? Tell me, did the Fire Clan go crazy from poverty? At this time, the Great Elder and the others rushed towards her. Lord, you mustn't. If we give away these properties, our Mujia is finished. The second elder spoke without remorse on the side. Yes, the third master is lucky. He will definitely escape this disaster. A cold glint flashed on Mu Qian's eyes. If we don't hand over the wealth, will the two elders lead the way to kill the fire sect with me to save little uncle? The corners of their mouths twitched slightly. They were only at the peak of the 9th stage martial warrior. Don't mention going. Even killing the extreme fire sect was obviously an impossible task for them. They still want to live a few more years. The Great Elder said, Lord, the fire sect is a large sect. In the whole Purple Moon Kingdom, they are definitely not to be messed with. We can tolerate this, Lord. Don't be impulsive. Swoosh! A few cries were heard as countless needles flew towards these old guys. All kinds of poisonous powders were also sprayed towards them. Mu Qian was furious. A bunch of old guys looking for death. This lord's little uncle's life is in danger right now, and you're telling me to put up with it? All of you, get lost. Mu Qian pointed at Ouyangji, including you. Get lost for this lord as well. For the fire sect to be able to make the calm and collected Mu Qian like this, it seems like they really touched her reverse scale. Yu Zhe, go and collect the property of the Mujia. I understand. Yu Zhe agreed without saying a word. Mui, gather everyone. Yes, my lord. Junimo, follow me to the fire sect, and I will make you a lot of delicious food that you have never eaten before. Really? Count me in. Junimo jumped up in excitement as soon as he heard about food and was completely captivated. Qingying, feel free to eat these elixirs. Restore yourself to the highest level, then come with me to save him. Mu Qian took out a large batch of elixirs, which was more than the entire Purple Moon Kingdom's annual elixir trade. Junimo looked at Mu Qian with wide eyes. Little girl, so many elixirs. Are you feeding a pig? Wow. As a result, a pair of cold eyes glanced at him. Junimo suddenly felt a chill, so he hurriedly shut his mouth. Although Qingying doesn't talk a lot, it does not mean that he couldn't understand human words. It was already dark and all preparations were ready. Mu Qian brought the 99 shadows of the Mujia along with Qingying and Junimo, whose strength was unfathomable, to eliminate the fire sect. While they were in the midst of a mad rush, a scarred figure suddenly jumped out, and Mu Qian hastily bellowed, Mui. Mui hurriedly pulled the one who had fallen to the ground. Sir Doing, aren't you my little uncle's personal shadow guard? Mu Qian asked in a low voice. Doing fell to one knee. This subordinate deserved to die. I didn't protect the third master well enough. Please forgive me, young lord. What exactly happened? Doing wanted to say something but stopped for a moment and just said, Young lord, third master said that the fire sect possesses a powerful artifact. He ordered this subordinate to never let you go to the fire sect, for he will be fine. He clenched his fists, wishing he could shatter the bones in his body. He knows how badly the situation is for the third master, but he can only say to others that Mu Wushuang will be fine. No matter what, the young lord mustn't go to that place and risk her life. Mu Qian lowered her head. Her pair of pitch-black eyes were so deep as she looked down on him. You better be telling the truth or else. I actually do not want to use this on my own people. A needle with uncertain substance had already drawn into Mu Qian's hand, and the pupils of Do Ying fiercely shrank. The young lord was always true to her words. She definitely wouldn't say it just to intimidate people. Young lord, the poison in the third master's legs was sealed by the one old patriarch since childhood. But now the seal has not been imprinted for nearly 20 years, so it has almost reached its limit and has broken out by now. With the arrival of those SCUM from the fire sect today, the third master, who is in immense pain, is unable to face the enemy. And I alone wasn't enough to deal with so many people and let the third master be taken away by them. I sneaked into the fire sect to save him, but was eventually discovered by them and failed to bring the third master out. Mu Qian's face changed greatly. Little uncle's situation is so critical. We must hurry and save him. Do Ying anxiously said, Young lord, the fire sect is a dangerous place. Third master knew their plans were not small, otherwise they would not do something against the rules of the two Dao. Do Ying, you know I couldn't care less about that. Right now, my only family is in their hands. Even if I pull the whole fire sect to HELL, I will not give up to save my little uncle. The night breeze blew up, her black hair blowing in the wind. The woman in front of him was as bright as the moon and her eyes were as clear as the cold stars of the dark night. He knew that there was no one who could stop her. There was a time that third master was also like this, and this time it was the young lord. Go. Tuan, Tian. He's referring to Mu Wushuang's father. Tu Dao, Dao, the origin and source of all things. It can be translated in many different ways, including the way/road/path/method. According to Taoism, it is the absolute principle underlying the universe, combining within itself the principles of yin and yang and signifying the way, or code of behavior, that is in harmony with the natural order. Chapter 122. Mu Qian used the fastest speed to arrive at the clan gate of the fire sect. The stone stairs leading to the interior of the fire sect were filled with lifelike relief sculptures that were raging with flames. Just standing at the entrance, you can feel the heritage of this 100-year-old sect, which is not a match for any of the secular families in the Purple Moon Kingdom. An outer disciple of the fire sect came forward and made a palm-hold-fist salute. Mu Jia's lord, please come inside. Our sect master is waiting for you. Mu Qian's expression was cold as she followed this person into the fire sect, and Junimo and Qingying followed after her. The great hall of the fire sect was wider than the imperial palace's martial hall, and sitting inside were the fire sect's leader, Jishan, along with his 7 sect elders. Jishan said, Lord Mu, you dare to come to my fire sect personally. You have a lot of guts. Cut the crap. Where is my little uncle? Mu Qian, she said in a cold voice. Mu Jia's lord is as lawless and untamed as rumors say. Today, I have finally seen it. This is my territory, so you are not allowed to be arrogant here. The spiritual pressure of the third stage Spirit King swept over. But Mu Qian raised her eyes without the slightest fear. A pair of dark eyes seemed to contain a storm, wanting to annihilate the old guys in front of her. I'll say it again. Where is my little uncle? Old man, if you still won't let me see my little uncle, even if this lord dies today, you will also get nothing. The grand elder of the fire clan laughed. Mu Jia's lord is young and vigorous and truly fears nothing under heaven. Sect leader, since Mu Wushuang doesn't have any strength left, should we let her meet him? Then we will listen to the grand elder. The sect leader nodded his head. At this time, a white figure was being supported by someone to come out. Mu Wushuang had already lost consciousness at this time. His jade-like face was white and his breath is extremely weak. Mu Qian fist clenched. Her figure flashed and softly held Mu Wushuang's body. Junimo drew a cold breath. He has an ancient poison in his body, and the seal that keeps it bay was already broken. He is already at death's door. Swish! Mu Qian injected several potions into Mu Wushuang, and in an instant Mu Wushuang's life force was quickly fading. Jishan gloated. This little girl is a ruthless character. In order to reduce Mu Wushuang's pain, she actually took the initiative to kill him. Junimo also looked stunned. Do Ying's face changed greatly. What is the little girl, young lord, doing? Mu Qian ordered. Do Ying, take care of little uncle. Junimo looked at Mu Qian like a monster. You actually have a way to make people fake their own death. Usually when I encounter a patient who is on the verge of death and cannot find treatment for the time being, I will choose to let the patient fake his death first and then study ways to save him. I was able to come up with a solution every time, and this time, it will definitely work too. Junimo fell silent. He did not want to discourage her. This patient, Mu Wushuang, was definitely much worse than her previous patients. His poison was not something that could be saved if you want to. At this time, Jishan said, "Little girl, the person is in your hands, so the things that I want, you should hand it over." Mu Qian raised an eyebrow. Heh. Old man, stop your acting. We all know that even if I hand over all my clan's property, you will not let us go today. If you were really after my clan's property, then more than 10 years ago, you would have broken the secular agreement to make a move against my Mu Jia. Why wait until now? Ji Shan stood up and laughed hideously. Little girl, I must say you're very smart. What I want from the fire sect is not your Mu Jia's property, but the life of the future Night Prince's consort. After saying that, several old guys seized towards Mu Qianshi viciously, carrying a sinister and murderous aura in their whole body. Two figures blocked Mu Qian's front, and the strength of martial and spirit kings shook them back before they could get their way. Ji Shan froze. When did the Purple Moon Kingdom produce two such young martial and spirit king experts? But even if Mu Qian had two martial and spirit kings with her, it was still too little. Taking down Mu Qian and them would not take much effort at all. Wudi, Xiaohong. At this time, Mu Qian let out two more trump cards. I, Wudi Tianxia, are number one. How dare you touch my master? You're all looking for death. Wudi said in a cold voice. Swoosh. With a sound, Wudi's figure rushed out. Their faces changed greatly in unison. What kind of spirit beast is this? Meanwhile, crimson flames shot up into the sky as Xiao Hong jumped out. They only saw a little red figure wrapped in flames charging straight down at them. The eyes of the sect leader of the fire sect widened. How is it possible? That's a holy beast. How could a spirit beast with this rank appear in the Purple Moon Kingdom? Xiao Hong wagged his tail in delight and laughed. Old man, do you want to die? How dare you hit my master's heart? Shadows, do it. Rumble. Just at this time, the entire fire sect mountain collapsed. Before coming to this hall, Mu Qian had asked some shadows to plant explosives inside the fire sect. In addition, these explosives were unlike the ordinary ones she used before. With her configuration of various poisons, today will be the day where the whole fire sect will blow up to the sky. Ack. Cough. Sect leader. It's not good. We've been poisoned. The disciples of the fire sect rushed inside in a hurry. All the disciples of the fire sect below martial and spirit kings were poisoned and lost their fighting strength, while few of the spirit and martial kings left were weakening. Ji Shan was furious. Poisoned? Then why won't you take an antidote pill? Sect leader, the antidote pill is useless. Not only is it useless, but it also catalyzes the poison, making us more and more deeply poisoned, a disciple said with anxiety. How is that possible? Ji Shan said with disbelief. The antidote pills rarely failed unless one encountered a very powerful high-ranking poison master. Could it be that the Mu Jia actually had a high-ranking poison master? All of you catch Mu Qianshi for me, Ji Shan ordered. After capturing Mu Jia's lord, asking for the antidote won't be a problem. Countless needles flew out of Mu Qian's body while her whole body was covered with poison. When they got close to Mu Qian and were about to grab her, suddenly the poison all over her body turned pitch black. Arg! A miserable scream came out. Poison! She's filled with poison. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Even Ji Shan stared in disbelief. He did not expect Mu Qian to make a poison so powerful. The poison on her whole body is fatal. If one touches it, he or she will immediately die. Ji Shan ordered, kill them directly. No need to leave them alive. A few spirit kings from the fire sect were stopped by Junimo and Wudi, but countless spirit and martial kings pounced towards Mu Qianshi. Lord! Several figures fell down and blocked their attacks. Clacking sounds filled the area. The shadows' concealed weapons were fired in unison, shooting every opponent in front of them. Lord, hurry up and go with third master. Mui roared. In order to make a path for Muqian and Shi, they will block the enemies even if it costs them their life. Even if the other side's people were poisoned by a lot. If they set their mind to kill, there's still a little chance that they may succeed. Chapter 123. Just as this crisis reaches its peak, Ating's voice sounded, "Ugly woman, I'll do my best to help you this once. Remember, when the time stops, it's all up to you. After that, I will fall into a deep sleep, so you can't be too careless while I'm asleep. Cut the CRAP and do it quickly. Mui and the others can't hold out anymore." A breeze blew, and in an instant, everything around seemed to have stood still. When Mu Qian's purple figure moved, all the poisonous needles flew out and rushed towards all the strong people around. She was like a grim reaper as she began to reap the lives of these people. Boom! All 7 elders were killed with a single blow. However, the sect leader of the fire sect happened to be protecting his body with spiritual power, so his body was unharmed and Mu Qian's needles, surprisingly, could not get close to him. Time resumed its flow when Mu Qian struck him once more. Seeing that Mu Qian, a weak spirit master, dared to strike at him, Ji Shan directly slapped her palm away. Seeking death, the power of a spirit king swept through her, making Mu Qian feel like her body and internal organs were about to shatter open. PFT. A mouthful of blood was spat out. Qing Ying's body flashed, and in an instant, he shielded Mu Qian from the front. Boom! Ji Shan's attack fell on his body. Qing Ying and Mu Qian flew out, while Ji Shan also took a few steps back and widened his eyes in surprise. How is that possible? How can his body be so strong? But what surprised him even more was yet to come. The 7 fire sect's elders, one by one with a thud, fell to the ground. Everyone's lips were purple, as if they had been poisoned. What happened just now? How can they be poisoned in a blink of an eye? Is this something even a human can do? Ji Shan was confused. The opponent in front of him somehow collapsed in Wudi, and Xiao Hong hurriedly blocked in front of their seriously injured master. Junmo's body flashed and encircled Ji Shan from behind. He laughed. "The elders of your clan are all poisoned. Once I finish you, I'll be done and have something good to eat." What the hell is going on here? Ji Shan felt that this must be a nightmare. Mu Qian slowly stood up, wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. "If you want to know, you go to HELL and ask the King Yin." Mu Qian grabbed out a handful of pills to heal herself, and also gave a lot to Qing Ying. "Qing Ying, can you still fight? If you can fight, finish this old guy in one breath." Qing Ying directly took the pills as water to drink to recover his strength, and the corners of Ji Shan's mouth twitched when he saw these 2 people who were so wasteful of high-quality pills. What kind of people are these? "Do it!" Mu Qian coldly shouted, and in an instant, Ji Shan was surrounded by 4 sides. The strength of Junimo, Qing Ying, and Xiao Hong were not weaker than him, plus with the agility of the spirit beast Wudi. This is the first time he fell into a difficult battle. Xiao Hong shouted, "Behold, the amazing destroyer of heaven!" Fiery red flames spread out in the entire fire sect as Xiao Hong attacked with all his might. Qing Ying's figure turned into countless shadows, continuously attacking Ji Shan from all sides. Swish! Wudi made a strike with his claw and viciously grabbed Ji Shan's neck. Ji Shan hurriedly dodged, but there were 3 still more bloody cat claw marks left on his face. Agh! A miserable scream came out from him and blood spilled on the ground. Just at this time, the moonlight shone on a long sword, then stabbed towards Ji Shan's chest. Mu Qian smiled. "I didn't expect that this foodie who's good at alchemy is also good at making swords." This stunning sword made Ji Shan unable to escape anymore. Ji Shan shouted loudly, "Master, help me! Save me! I don't want to die yet." Boom! After Ji Shan fell to the ground, a deafening sound filled the entire area of the fire sect. A huge black shadow that blots out the moonlight with its darkness and evil aura swept over Ji Shan's body. Which person managed to turn you into this wretched state? Is it Bunzwa's food that has come? Since you're here, Why didn't you wake Bonzwa up earlier? Its voice was ear-splitting, causing the whole ground to shake. Ji Shan weakly answered, that person. He hasn't come yet. Rubbish. That man hasn't even come yet, and you're already in such a mess. The power of darkness devoured all the disciples of the fire sect who were poisoned and lost their combat power on the ground. Master, these are all my disciples of the fire sect. They are only poisoned. They're not dead yet. His own disciples were devoured one by one, including the 7 elders, which made his flesh ache. It's just some trash, so what if they are devoured by me? In time, with Bunzwa's help, you will make your fire sect the #1 sect in the snow continent and the #1 sect in the southern realm. When that time comes, will you still care about these wastes? That voice was unusually arrogant. Jishan exclaimed, Your Excellency is right. The power of darkness seems to restore Ji Shan's life that was on the verge of death. It was good that he himself came back to life, so it doesn't matter to him whether others were alive or dead at this point. Xiao Hong hurriedly said in a deep voice, Master, go. This disgusting thing gives me a very bad feeling. Even Junimo also frowned slightly. What the hell is this thing? Lord. The Shadows and the others were also incredibly cautious. When the Fire Clan got a particularly powerful backing, that's the only time they dared to go against the entire Purple Moon Kingdom and went against Juyi directly. That powerful force is not something they can go against, so that powerful backing must be this pitch-black monster. Mu Qian shouted. Retreat. Jishan hurriedly said, Master, don't let them get away. The entire SPAC seemed to be enveloped by that dark power, becoming sticky, and that black shadow laughed hideously. You can't run away. Be good and become my food for recovery. A behemoth from and among the black fog came out, and at this time Mu Qian and the others clearly saw the monster's appearance. It has an ape-like face, but with a pair of bull horns. Have 4 legs and 4 hands, but the body is like a lion with long hair. It is a big monster that is completely unlike any other. Ji Shan pointed at Mu Qian. That woman? That's his woman. Kill her, and he will surely throw himself into the pit. Ka. Is that so? The monster laughed hideously, and its 4 hands suddenly became longer to grab Mu Qian's shi. Roar! Xiao Hong bellowed with rage and spewed out crimson flames. Disgusting thing. Don't try to touch Bonzwa. Those flames did not do any damage to the monster, as if it was only a small flame. It said with contempt, a stupid pig. How dare you block Bonzwa? With great strength, Xiao Hong's body was directly slapped away. Eyesore. All of you. Get lost. Looking at the aggressive Wudi, Junimo, and the others, the monster's 4 hands slapped towards them. Sound of chaos filled the area. The monster's speed is astonishing that even Junimo and Qing Ying could not dodge it completely. The disparity in strength between the monster and them was in plain sight. In just a few seconds, Mu Qian was already caught, and she simply could not escape. Woman, do you think I should shred your arm first? Or should I tear your hand first? The monster stared at Mu Qian and asked. Right at this time, Mu Wushuang, who had been shielded by Doing, moved a little. In front of Doing, Mu Wushuang's jet-black hair turned into silver-purple. As his eyes slowly opened, it also turned into that color. Chapter 124. A cold, indifferent voice came out. A lowly ghost. How dare you harm my niece? That pair of golden eyes, with an icy coldness that did not belong to this human world, seemed to turn the surroundings into hell. Little uncle. Mu Qian was stunned. She forced her little uncle's body to rigor mortis, but didn't expect him to suppress the medicine and wake up. This power is yours? You're here. Then, as long as I eat you, I will get incomparable power. The ghost laughed hideously. At this point, the menacing ghost has given up on feasting Mu Qian's body and turned his attention to Mu Wushuang instead, greedily looking at Mu Wushuang with drool. Ji Shan widened his eyes. Master, are you saying that the power you wanted was from him and not from the Night Prince? How is that possible? It's him. I'm sure it's him. My intuition is never wrong. The ghost drooled at Mu Wushuang. Its appearance is incomparably disgusting. After saying that, the ghost rushed towards Mu Wushuang. Boom! Terrifying power emanated from Mu Wushuang's body and rushed towards the menacing ghost. But the ghost dodged away and laughed triumphantly. Ka 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 ka. Your seal is only half unlocked. Your power is too weak and your legs are useless. How can you be a match for Banzhua? Be a good boy and become the nourishment for Banzhua. As its hands grabbed at Mu Wushuang rolled down to the ground to dodge. His legs not being able to move was too limiting to his strength. Mu Wushuang shouted, "Sheer, hurry up and go." Mu Qian hastily stood up. She knew Ah Ting was in a deep sleep by this time, and her own strength, which is at the first stage, Spirit Master, isn't enough for the monster they're fighting against right now. But even if she had to fight with her little uncle until the last moment, she will not go. Doing. Take Sheer away. Although it was only a low-level ghost, it was not something that any of the people in this little kingdom could fight against, and all Mu Wushuang could do was buy her a little time to escape. You still care about others when you're at the end of your life. Ha! Take this. A powerful attack was blasted towards Mu Wushuang. Ack! A mouthful of fresh blood spat out from Mu Wushuang's mouth. The smell of blood made the ghost even greedier as he opened his big mouth and pounced on Mu Wushuang. I'll eat you alive. Go. At the same time, a volley of needles with varying poisons rushed towards the arm of four-armed monster. Boom! The poison needle exploded in its arm, and a white mist enveloped it for a while. This white mist was highly poisonous, and ordinary cultivators would definitely be affected. But this four-armed monster isn't human, and Mu Qian knew that it wouldn't do any harm on it. Mu Qian swept past and pulled Mu Wushuang, "Little uncle, let's go." The white mist dispersed, and the huge shadow shrouded them, followed by a raucous voice, "Go." Heh. None of you can leave. You humans are too much of an eyesore. Why don't you all die for me? A powerful force came towards Mu Qian, obliterating everything on its path. Mu Wushuang's golden eyes seemed to burn up, ready to throw everything just to protect Mu Qian. But at this moment, a cold and merciless voice that seemed to come out of Hell filled the entire area. An insect like you? How dare you do this to this prince's fiancée? A man with a black robe dancing wildly in the night wind appeared in the air like a dark demon god. The night is dark as ink, and his aura was akin to a king which no one could disobey. Jishan exclaimed, "It's the Night Prince, he's here." Mu Qian looked at the man who looked like an azura in the night sky, and was slightly stunned. He really came. Insect, you say? In front of Banzhua, you humans are the insects. The ghost used its two hands to grab Juyi in the air. The black figure looks cold and even when sweeping through the darkness and easily dodging the attacks of the four-armed monster. Suddenly a power that shook heaven and earth swept down, imprisoning the ghost to death. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the menacing ghost was viciously thrown outside, on top of a mountain peak. Its body smashed out a huge hole on top of the mountain peak. The mountain peak, countless rocks fell, and the power of the four-armed monster is surprisingly weakening rapidly. A cold, cruel, and sinister look was on Jiu Ye's face as he gently raised his hand and a strand of the ghost's pitch-black soul was drawn out by him. It screamed miserably, "No, my lord, please spare my life." A cold glint flashed in Jiu Ye's eyes. "Die. Who are you? Why are you here? Ack, how can there be such an existence in this place?" The soul of the ghost was torn apart in an instant, and his angry roar resounded throughout the fire sect. The fire sect leader trembled in fear. He originally thought that the person in the snow continent, who was only at the 9th stage Spirit King's peak, was the strongest, but he was mistaken. Xinyuan Juyi, this man who could fight to this point, was even more powerful. His master, who was his greatest reliance, was easily cleaned up by Xinyuan Juyi. It was too much to take in. For a moment, he felt an incomparably dangerous aura that locked onto his body. Jishan was very afraid of death and hurriedly ordered, "Stop him for me! Stop him for me!" He wanted his men to stop Juyi and buy himself time to escape. The remaining disciples of the fire sect, all trembling with fear, were forced to approach carefully due to the orders of the sect leader. But at this time, that pair of icy blue eyes became bloody red. With a wave of his hand, all the people around were all knocked out, one by one. They turned into hideous white bones. Demon! Jishan shouted. The man in front of him was staring wide-eyed, and the mask on his face suddenly fell off. His whole face was covered with a hideous pattern like a vine. Vicious, venomous, bloodthirsty. These words suited him completely. He was like a demon god descending into the world, making the crowd almost scared out of their wits. Mu Qian froze for a moment and hurriedly shouted, "Jiu Yi." His face, how did it turn out like this? She had seen the face under his mask. It was beautiful enough to make heaven and earth lose its color. Not like this. Boom. Sounds of chaos filled the area, and Jiu Yi is like the devil that seeks others' life at each turn. At this point, the entire fire sect was destroyed. The majestic sect with palaces, pavilions, and towers are all turned into ashes in an instant, as if a bomb landed on it. All the disciples of the fire sect were turned into white bones and reported to King Yin. It was a terrifying and shocking extermination. Mu Yi and the others were shaken. They hastily contracted their formation and protected Mu Qian. They felt that at this moment, His Highness the Night Prince had turned into a demon who only wanted to kill. After he finished solving those people from the fire sect, they were afraid that he would make a move on their lord, so they had to protect her even if it cost them their lives. Chapter 125 HH. The sect leader of the fire sect fell to his knees and wailed in pain. "You're not human. You're definitely not human." Starting from his head, his body turned into white bones in an instant and finally fell to the ground, completely dead. Jiu Ye's ink hair, which was like silk, fluttered freely in the night sky. A pair of ruthless eyes, tinged with bloodthirsty and ruthless bone-chilling, looked at Mu Qian. His face, which was so beautiful and unrivaled, now became even more hideous than the evil ghost Rakshasa, and the black pattern that seemed to be spreading out to his body kept on giving him an aura that grew more and more terrifying. Jiu Yi stepped on the void, like a devil god who defied all life, and approached Mu Qian and the others. "My lord, hurry up and take the third master away," Mu Yi hurriedly said. In an instant, a boundless, gloomy, cold-killing aura filled the air. It was as if 10,000 ghosts were howling around them, making people's bodies freezing cold, which made them think that death is near. Mu Qian pushed Mu Yi away. "You guys move out of the way." "Lord." Mu Yi's brow wrinkled into a character. "This is an order," Mu Qian said without being allowed to make a comment. "Sheer." Mu Wushuang wanted to stand up to pull Mu Qian, but his legs could not support him at all. Boom. Mu Wushuang, whose strength was depleted, instantly lost consciousness and fainted. He said in a raving voice, "Sheer, absolutely nothing must happen." Mu Qian with a consoling voice, "Little uncle, don't worry. I will be fine. Take good care of little uncle. I'll go check on Jiu Yi." Mu Qian moved in a flash. Mu Yi and the others could only watch as the Lord, whom they were protecting, approached the man who was as bloodthirsty and ruthless as a demon god. They wanted to stop her, but the Lord's order could not be disobeyed. She walked in front of Jiu Yi. Jiu Yi, like an ice sculpture, set his eyes on Mu Qian. Mu Qian stretched out her hand, touching the hideous face, and said softly, "Jiu Yi, what is wrong? This is the first time I've seen you in such a mess." What shocked Mu Qian even more was that the black lines, filled with great evil power, were not poison, nor were they compulsions. Mu Yi, Junimo, and the others were about to glare their eyes out. Not only did she get close to this man, but she even touched his face. A pair of cold hands that seemed to freeze Mu Qian to death grabbed her wrist. The terrible strength seemed to crush her bones. Jiu Yi said in a low voice, "Go. Take your people and go quickly." His voice, it was as if he was suppressing something. Like there's a ferocious beast that was about to break out of his body, devouring all living creatures here, including Mu Qian. Jiu Ye's hands slowly loosened, allowing Mu Qian to regain her freedom. Mu Qian coldly shouted, Mui, take little uncle and leave quickly. Lord, what about you? Mui gritted his teeth. Jui came in order to help me. He is in a bad situation right now, and as an alchemist, I may have something to alleviate his symptoms. Lord, this is very dangerous. The hearts of the shadows were anxious. You all go. A powerful force pushed Mu Qian away. Lord, Mu Yi's heart was burning with anxiety. Before they had time to leave, at this time, some of the black patterns suddenly came out of Jiu Ye's body, forming a furious vortex that surrounded him. Junimo widened his eyes. What the hell is going on? When Qingying saw the scene in front of him, his pupils shrank violently and he said in a low voice, I seem to have some impression, but I can't remember. The scene in front of them was completely beyond their imagination. Roar. Suddenly a painful roar came out. Mu Qian frowned tightly. What in the end was that black pattern that could make Jiu Yi, who had always been indifferent to anything, suffer to such an extent? Mu Qian took out countless pill bottles and deployed several potions in the blink of an eye. Painkiller, sedative, sleeping agent, these are the only 3 simple potions that can be dispensed today, but no matter what, I'm going to try. Hopefully I can reduce his pain a bit. Mu Qian muttered. Junmo's face sank. Little girl, you're crazy. Although these potions of yours are special, I don't feel that they are going to work against this bizarre situation. Rumble. The mountain beneath their feet suddenly collapsed, making their figures a little unstable. Mui exclaimed, Lord, we must retreat now, or else we will be buried alive. Mu Qian also looked at the man who was wrapped in an evil and terrifying power and couldn't help but stammer. Originally, she thought that the people of the Purple Moon Kingdom feared Jiu Yi so much was just an exaggeration to deliberately demonize a good iceberg beauty. But she didn't expect that Jiu Yi could really do such a terrifying thing. But even if that is the case, Mu Qian is willing to give it a try. Just when she was about to rush over, a cyan figure blocked her. He said in a deep voice, Don't go near him. He's very dangerous. Boom. A destructive force rushed towards the Qingying, slapping him away. And at this time, Jiu Yi expressionlessly appeared in front of Mu Qian and stretched out his hands to pinch her slender neck. As long as he moves a little, he will be able to snap her neck. Seeing this scene, Mu Yi, Junimo, and the others' anxious hearts are about to jump out, but they are biting their lips to death. At this moment, no one dared to make a sound. They are afraid that if they make a sound, His Highness the Night Prince, who has lost his mind like a demon God, will completely strangle their lord to death. Mu Qian felt that she had difficulty breathing, and her head was dizzy. Instead of killing her for Snat when they first met, Jui was about to make up for it at this time. Just when Mu Qian was about to lose support, she suddenly felt a dark shadow looming over her eyes, and then she woke up with a jolt. A single word was slowly exhaled, followed by MMPH, Mn. Mu Qian's eyes widened and looked at Jiu with disbelief. Mu Yi, Junimo, and the others also froze. The Lord, little girl, was forcefully kissed by the frenzied Night Prince. His Highness Xinyuan Jiu Ye's action is too outrageous. Jiu Ye's kiss was very wild. There was no trace of order and skill, as if he simply wanted to let off some steam. His eyes look like it wants to claim or possess something. It's a scene that seems to haunt forever. The night breeze blew up, the black robe and purple dress intertwined underneath the moon. The two people's silky hair was blown up by the cold wind in a difficult way and entwined in their eyes. It was like a deep kiss that, even if it went forever, will never be enough. Chapter 126 Caught Unprepared. Mu Qian was dazed by the domineering kiss of Jie Yi, but finally recovered a trace of sanity in the next moment. The needles in her hand were drawn out and pierced in Jiu Yi, Tox. Mu Qian mentally sighed. If Jiu Yi could come to his senses, I hope he would not take this matter into account. Although it's a normal thing to get a needle in that area in modern times, His Highness the Tled Night Prince was different. If he knew that he was poked with some needles in that area, he would definitely want to kill someone. The corners of Mu Yi and Junmo's mouths twitch up frantically. With this temperament, Lord, little girl, is really worthy of being the head of the clan. See, even when kissing, she still has time to be distracted and make a move towards the Night Prince. Meanwhile, Jiuyi, whose focus in what he's doing does not have the heart to care what this woman is up to either. But when he felt her focus was getting farther and farther, Jiuyi nibbled more vigorously, like an insatiable beast that caught its prey. While Jiuyi was engaged in the moment, suddenly a very untimely voice came. "Master, the curse has surprisingly flared up early. Are you all right?" Housekeeper Bai's eyes widened when he saw the exceedingly charming scene. He instantly froze and wanted to bury himself into the ground to hide. Jiu Ye's lips left Mu Qian's and let out a voice that can put people's souls to freeze. "Get lost." Boom. Housekeeper Bai, an old bone, was slapped away by his master and blasted off in the air. The black pattern that wrapped around Xinyuan Jiu Ye's body at this time slowly came back together, shrinking from his body to his face and slowly disappearing. And finally, the handsome and peerless face that was obscured by dark patterns was once again displayed in front of Mu Qian. Seeing such a stunning and ravishing figure, Mu Yi and the others also stared in disbelief, revealing an incredible expression. They were told that due to the Night Prince's appearance closer to a Rakshasa, he tends to wear a mask. But they didn't expect His Highness the Night Prince to be this handsome, seemingly Serpa. Sing all the men in this world. Mu Qian saw his eyes were back to its icy blue color and breathed a sigh of relief. Then, she turned her head to see Jiuyi, who had done something bad but looked calm as ever. "It's good that you're okay. Otherwise, I'm going to be the first person to suffocate because of kissing." Jiu Ye's slender hand gently brushed over her red and swollen lips and softly said, "It won't happen." Bin Jun has a sense of proportion. The cold touch made Mu Qian take a few steps back as if she had received an electric shock, and her heart could not help but throb. Even the furious kiss just now did not make her heart a ripple. So how come a sudden touch from him made her heart skip a beat? Junmao explained. Those who have been hit with ancient poison never survived. Fortunately, the poison was sealed in his legs, which made your little uncle live for more than 20 years. But with his current condition and broken seal, I'm afraid no one in this world has the strength to suppress his poison again. If not for his strong power, he wouldn't even last this long. I also do not know how long his strength can hold up. I have a 9th Earth-grade elixir and green spirit lotus here. You can directly let him take it. It can suppress his body's toxicity, but there's no telling how long it lasts. This ancient poison is too strong. Junimo waved his hand and said helplessly, 9th Earth-grade elixir. What level is it? Elixirs is divided into 1 to 9 grades, which is only the mortal grade. Above the mortal grade is called the Earth grade. In the Snow Continent, there are only 3 or more of this 9th Earth-grade elixir. I spent a large sum of money to make this. That's why, little girl, you must feed me with good food and drink every day. For the sake of good food, the Medicine King is very desperate, and such treasures are offered. Mu Qian asked, just suppression? Then do you know the way to completely detoxify the poison? What she wanted was definitely not just to suppress the poison, but to cure it from the roots and let her little uncle stand up once again. Junimo shook his head. The remedies for many poisons in the ancient times have long been lost. Plus this one is incomparably malignant, even more impossible to cure, unless what? Mu Qian asked immediately after. Jiuyi caught Mu Qian. The moonlight at this time fell on her face. Her exquisite face that looked confused was shining in the eyes of Jiuyi. Stay? To do what? Mu Qian's heart was pounding. He wouldn't be able to remember what she did to him, would he? Apparently, there's nothing to fear. Think for yourself. What have you done to this prince? With a firm grip, Jiuye's hand yanked her onto the soft couch in the room. Seeing this one approaching as strongly as a demon god, Mu Qian's heart went up and down. Jiuyi, special circuit stances have special treatment. At that time, I could only put the potion needle there. I didn't mean it. A pair of slender hands fell into Mu Qian's neck. A strange, cold breath swept Mu Qian's whole body. He said in a low voice, "If it is someone else who does this to Benjun, you, however, are an exception." Even Jiuyi himself did not know that the cold and cruel icy blue eyes of his actually flashed a hint of doting light. "How about we just let this matter go?" Mu Qian looked hopefully at Jiuyi. Jiuyi retracted his long and slender hands, making Mu Qian breathe a sigh of relief. "She's thinking that His Highness the Night Prince would be generous enough to let her go." But the words of Jiuyi made her fall off the soft couch. "Benjun intends to use his own way to treat others. What do you think?" With the perfect lips slightly open, the words came out slowly. Mu Qian gritted her teeth, but eventually gave up. "Anyway, this ghost doctor is not afraid of needles. In fact, Master Hua has made her potion needles so fine that they don't hurt at all." Mu Qian took out 9 needles smaller than a hair out and said, "Jiuyi, I'll just give you 9 shots, 3 tranquilizers, 3 hypnotics, and 3 painkillers. The medicine is already loaded. If you want to do it now." Mu Qian lay on her side on top of the soft couch, obviously waiting for the doctor to give the injections and resign herself to her fate. But Jiuyi stood aside and did not want to touch the needles in the slightest. Mu Qian turned and asked, "Jiuyi, 9 shots not enough?" For words were spat out coldly. Mu Qian mentally slandered, "Your Highness Shura surely doesn't want to return the favor tenfold, right? If it's 90 shots, it will poke into a hornet's nest. 10 needles, that's final." Mu Qian took out another needle. "I hope he is not so cruel to really turn it tenfold." As a result, Jiuyi was not moved, but directly pressed Mu Qian on top of the soft couch. That pair of icy blue eyes looked straight at Mu Qian, which flashed a hint of danger, giving Mu Qian a very, very bad premonition. Sure enough, Jiuye's hand moved, which directly made Mu Qian lie on top of the soft couch. As a result, Mu Qian let out a shout. Her eyes widened and her entire face turned red. She was so angry that she trembled and shouted, "Jiuyi, you bastard! How dare you spank my ass?" She has not been beaten like this by anyone in her previous life or this life. "That thing of yours, I won't use it, so this is for the best," Jiuyi replied very honestly, with an equally good feeling in his hand. "Maybe Aunt can hold it in, but Uncle cannot." Mu Qian was ready to resist this inhumane Shura tyrant. It was already humiliating enough to be beaten a little, but if she really got the 90 spanks, she would definitely go berserk. Mu Qian exploded with all her strength, and with a sudden leap, she flipped over and directly grabbed the arm of Jiuyi and flung him on top of the soft couch. Mu Qian sat on top of him and pressed his shoulders with both hands. The color of her flushed face had not yet faded at this time. She said angrily, "Jiuyi, you've gone too far. My father didn't even hit me. I can't believe you went down there." Jiuyi, who was forcibly suppressed by Mu Qian, said very seriously, "Wasn't it you who did that first to Benjun?" The corners of Mu Qian's mouth twitched. "That's different. That's an injection. As a doctor, it's a normal thing to give an injection in that area, and it's not like I haven't seen it before." Just as Mu Qian's words fell, suddenly this Shura Demon King's aura became very dangerous. In an instant, the sky spun, and Jiuyi took the initiative to suppress Mu Qian once again. "There are 8 more times." Hot air sprayed in Mu Qian's ears, but the words he just said made Mu Qian want to cry. "Me? I can see your leaking, Jiuyi." "Jiuyi. So what?" "Me. Hee. I'll tell this to her uncle the next time we meet." "Jiuyi. Are you already tired of living, translator?" "Me, why you? You can't hurt me or Mu Qian will hate you." "Jiuyi. Oh, really? Me, why yeah. And if you hurt me, this novel will be put on hold again." "Jiuyi. TSK. Fine. I'll spare you this time." "Me? Phew. OMG, that was so scary." T to the power of T May has something to say. This chapter was the last work of the previous translator before she went on hiatus. She forgot to publish it, lol. Hope she'll come back soon. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.